You know that feeling, right? That quiet hum coming from the machine on your desk. Inside that box, inside that shrine of silicon and copper, a choice was made. A commitment. Green or red. And it's more than just a piece of hardware, isn't it? It's a choice in a war that's been going on for decades. Fought not on some battlefield, but right there in the pixels on your screen.
So, let's be real. You probably clicked on this with a pretty practical question in mind, something you've seen in market share charts or benchmark videos. What's the deal with AMD's graphics cards? Why does it feel like their crimson red glow is kind of flickering out in the blinding emerald light of NVIDIA?
And look, it's a good question, a totally fair one, but it's the wrong question. Asking that is like focusing on the teacups rattling during an earthquake. It's just a doorway into a much, much bigger and honestly a much stranger story about a massive tectonic shift happening right under our feet.
All right, let's get into the heart of it, because this isn't really a story about corporate strategy. It's the story of two competing religions of progress. On one side, you've got NVIDIA's Cathedral. It's a beautiful, walled garden, a curated, closed ecosystem where every miracle is handed down from on high. And on the other side, you got AMD's Open Frontier, a place of raw, chaotic, untamed power, all built on open standards.
So, here's our game plan for this explainer. First, we'll dive into this spiritual war. Then we'll step inside NVIDIA's Emerald Cathedral. After that, we'll journey out into AMD's Crimson Frontier. Then we'll break down the psychology of the battle. And finally, we have to confront the AI monolith that changed absolutely everything.
All right, part 1, a spiritual war. This is the story we're telling. It's about two competing gospels, both fighting for the soul of the digital age. You've got the walled garden of perfection versus the heresy of raw, untamed power.
Okay, on to section 2, the Emerald Cathedral. Let's step inside NVIDIA's walled garden. And to really get NVIDIA, you have to understand this one thing. When you buy their card, you're not just a customer, you're a parishioner. You're taking a vow.
So what's the holy book of this religion? It's called CUDA. Think of it like a secret language, a holy scripture that only NVIDIA's hardware can speak fluently. It was invented way back in the mid-2000s, and its whole purpose was to let developers use a GPU's massive power for things other than just games. Now, at the time, it seemed kind of niche. But here's the thing. NVIDIA wasn't just building a gaming machine. They were forging a key that would one day unlock the future.
And man, were they patient. This was a 15-year play. It started with CUDA, which attracted this sort of priesthood of scientists who all learned its special language. Then, you fast forward to 2018, and bam, RTX arrives. NVIDIA basically just declared that they would define what next-gen graphics looked like. A year later, they introduced DLSS. It was this AI-powered performance boost that felt like straight-up magic. But, and this is crucial, it was a miracle that only worked if you had their special hardware. Every single one of these moves was another shovel of dirt, digging this huge, deep moat around their cathedral.
Okay, let's leave the cathedral for a minute. Section 3, the Crimson Frontier. So if NVIDIA built this pristine, perfect cathedral, AMD guards a volcano. It's a source of just raw, explosive, unpredictable power. Their whole philosophy is what the cathedral would call heresy. It's all about openness.
You've probably heard something like this before, right? This quote, it just perfectly captures AMD's original sin. It's the ghost that has haunted them for years. They would create this unbelievable piece of hardware, an absolute marvel of engineering, only to have it totally hobbled by buggy drivers or unoptimized software. All that incredible potential was there, but actually connecting to it, that was a mess.
And you can see this clash of religions perfectly in the tools they build. Instead of NVIDIA's closed proprietary CUDA, AMD championed OpenCL, an open standard that anybody could contribute to. Instead of the secret black box magic of DLSS, they offered FSR, an open-source alternative that could run on almost any hardware, even NVIDIA's cards. It was a direct challenge to the cathedral's whole belief system.
But here's the tragic irony in all of this. AMD's noble philosophy of freedom is also what keeps them in second place. You see, an open standard like OpenCL often lacks that single obsessive corporate focus needed to compete with proprietary magic. The frontier offers endless possibility for sure, but it also comes with a very real risk of just getting lost out in the wilderness.
Which brings us to part 4, the psychology of battle. This war isn't just fought with silicon and circuit boards. It's fought in our minds. It's waged in the landscape of consumer perception, where price becomes a weapon and momentum is a force just as real as gravity.
Okay, check this out. It's a classic move.
AMD launches a card like the 7900 XT, and it's a great value. It looks like the rebellion is finally winning one. But then, NVIDIA, with surgical precision, just cuts the price of its competing card, the 4070 Ti. And just like that, what was a clear value win for AMD suddenly becomes a murky, confusing choice. This isn't just business, it's psychological warfare. It's using a massive treasury to protect the idea that NVIDIA is the default, the safe choice.
And this creates a powerful, self-perpetuating cycle. It goes like this. High market share means game developers focus on NVIDIA first. That leads to better optimization for NVIDIA cards. Better optimization reinforces the public's idea that NVIDIA just works better. That mindshare leads to more people buying green cards, and the cycle repeats. The burden of proof always falls on the challenger. It always falls on the heretic.
And now we've arrived at the final section, the AI monolith. This is the heart of it all. This is where this simmering war became an absolute rout. We have to talk about the battle that most of us never even saw coming, the battle for AI.
For the last couple of years, a force has been completely unleashed on the world: generative AI. It's not just a new gadget, it's a paradigm shift on the scale of the internet itself. And standing at the absolute epicenter of it all is one company.
Over 90%. Just let that number sink in for a second. That is NVIDIA's near-total monopoly on the specialized hardware that is powering the entire global AI revolution. It's a level of dominance that is just, well, it's staggering. So how did this happen? It all comes back to CUDA. That 15-year-old bet they made on general computing, it paid off bigger than anyone could have possibly imagined. The entire AI research community built all of its tools on top of NVIDIA's proprietary language. So when generative AI exploded onto the scene, it could effectively only run on NVIDIA's foundation. That moat they started digging all those years ago, it wasn't a moat anymore. It was an impassable ocean. And AMD was a decade and a half late to the most important party in tech history. And this really delivers the final verdict. All those squabbles we had over frame rates in games, they now seem like a quaint little border skirmish. Because the real war, the one for the future of computation itself, hasn't just been fought, it's been decisively won.
Which brings us all the way back to that central conflict, doesn't it? The one that's happening in our technological soul, our desire for the reliable, predictable perfection of the cathedral versus the chaotic, messy, but vital freedom of the frontier.
For a long time, these two forces were in balance. The heretic kept the church honest. But that balance is broken. That flicker of AMD's red light isn't just a sign of a struggling competitor anymore. It's a warning sign of a dangerous technological monoculture. It's the sound of the open frontier being paved over. And that leaves all of us with one final, crucial question. The spiritual war for the digital age appears to be over. One side won. So what is the price we all pay for living in the cathedral?
If you enjoy this video, please like, share, subscribe and hit the bell to the later update from my channel. Thank you for watching till the end and see you in the next video.